Welcome, welcome. Black everything. Come on in, tell a friend. Share, subscribe it, put your thumbs up like you're hitchhiking. We back at the Stock Institute, chapter 4. Powerful information going down. Sharing this info in spurts. We're gonna get through it. It's been a lovely time. It's a new year, but we're gonna finish this here very soon with things. Yes. I got on the last please. Shout out to the King, Mac Mall. You know about it. We come chapter 4. The Doors of Perception, the CIA Psychedelic Revolution, right where we left off. It says, the experiment begins. Donald Fowle, in his book Satanic Roots of Rock, describes the event. Quote, 2 days before the scheduled start of the concert, 50,000 kids had already arrived in Woodstock. Drugs immediately began to circulate. Fowle in the same book continues, says, for the next 3 days, nearly 500,000 young people that are subjected to drugs and rock music. Because of torrential rains, they were forced to wallow in knee-deep mud. There were no shelters, no way to get out. Cars were packed over 8 miles away, strategically packed. Rosenman writes that the key to the woods was keeping our performers performing around the clock to keep these kids transfixed, end quote. On August 17th, the New York Times reported, quote, tonight, a festival announcer warned from the stage that badly manufactured acid, a term for LSD, was being circulated. Not the good batch, the bad one. He said, you aren't taking poison acid. The acid is not poison, just badly manufactured acid. You're not going to die. So if you think you've taken poison, you haven't. But if you're worried, just take half a tablet. Mm-hmm. The advice to nearly 500,000 people, quote, just take half a tablet, end quote, was given by none other than MK Ultra agent Wavy Gravy. It would be another decade before the counterculture became part of the American lexicon. But the first seeds of what was a giant part what was a giant secret project to turn the values of America inside were sown. Drugs, sex, rock and roll. You remember that? Massive nationwide demonstrations, hippies, communes, dropout drug heads, the Nixon presidency, the Vietnam War were tearing the fiber of American society apart. The old world, unbeknownst to the flower children, that it was all a part of a secret social and occult agenda designed by some of the most brilliant and diabolical minds in the world. Look at that word, diabolical. Hidden away in prestigious foundations, corporations, and think tanks, these political and financial puppeteers ruthlessly and cunningly used pop culture to foster alienation and dysfunction to achieve arrested development and family breakdown for personal gain. Throughout 1965 to 1969, the psychedelic movement gained much momentum and culminated with events like Woodstock. However, quick as it came, it was gone. LSD was outlawed. Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin died. Timothy Leary dropped off his soapbox in the United States after failing miserably in Vietnam, drifted into a depressing 1970s. Yet, once again, Tavistock was waiting, ready to exploit that apathy for their personal gain. The Aquarian Conspiracy. In the spring of 1980, a book exploded called The Aquarian Conspiracy. It sold over 1 million copies and translated into 10 languages. Overnight, it became a manifesto of the counterculture. Rebellion swept North America in this management gurus. We having a little difficulty. I see right there. I do apologize for the glitching. See if we can get it back quickly. Okay, there we go. I said a concept hailed as a paragon of virtue and readily promoted by business management gurus. Teamwork, however, was a psychological technique the Tavistock Institute introduced as a way to control brilliant individuals through peer pressure. They got the tactics. Boy, it was part of the experiment conducted by Brigadier General in that field of group therapy. L. Marcus, writing for the Campaigner magazine in April 1974, explains, quote, a skilled group leader can use the group to create a powerful family environment. Once this environment is induced, it becomes possible for the therapist to manipulate a member of the group, not by direct attack, but by subtle manipulating through suggestion and the other members of the group. If the victim is sucked into thinking of the group as something warm and helpful, then when that environment has been manipulated to turn against him, it will then have the impact of a deep motherly rejection. Furthermore, if the victim is not completely aware of the therapist's chain of manipulation, he will tend to internalize their results, thinking that he himself is responsible for the new awareness about himself. End quote. So we're gonna leave it right there, man, and come back and continue on the route down the rabbit hole. But it's getting deeper and deeper. I appreciate y'all for checking us out. Tavistock Institute, they doing a lot of things up in here, man. You just gotta do your own diligence because it ain't stopped. What is it, 2023 now? It ain't stopped all the way from the 1950s and 60s. They still do experiments. They doing experiments like the one in 2020. You know what that was? That was a tremendous experiment. They said unprecedented experiment, as they say. That's how all black everything. Thinkers flight. You know, thinkers all want it. Come on, tell a friend about it. Thumbs up, like it, share it, subscribe. Thumbs up like you're hitchhiking. Big dreams and many strings as well. Come back. We coming back. Peace and love.